anyone tells you to just hand carry product demos to a show, just say no. It's the day after Adobe Max. 3 or 4 days of Adobe Max this entire week from Monday to Friday. Pretty much at least 12-hour days each day. What's up, Larry?
Morning.
Oh, God. Which track is it? It's not Streets of Willow. Willow Springs is the same place, right? Belden Willow. Yeah. Okay, one of the Willows. That was right. Where can I put my bag?
Throw it in the back.
Audio can make or break your video, so it's essential to have a good microphone. Otherwise, you're relying on your camera's onboard microphones, which can sound a little something like this. This is an old Petzval lens that I bought on Kickstarter. It's probably the first item that I've ever kickstarted. I recently picked up the Sony Vlogger microphone, the ECM-G1, for about $150, released around August 2022, and I wanted to see if it can replace my current vlogging microphone, the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus. Right off the bat, you notice that there's a huge size difference between the Sony and the Rode microphone, which is what attracted me to this microphone in the first place. It'll save me space, it'll make it a lot easier to travel with. However, because it's so much more compact, I assume that there's some sort of trade-off when going with a microphone like this versus something like this. Other than the size, the Sony records through the hot shoe mount right here, while the Rode microphone connects via a 3.5mm cable. However, the Sony does also have a 3.5mm port, just in case, so you can use it with other cameras and recorders. Another difference is that this Rode microphone has a lot more manual control, giving you decibel control, high pass filter settings, and a high frequency boost, while the Sony microphone is completely automatic. When you connect the Sony microphone to a compatible Sony camera through the multi-interface hot shoe, all the volume controls are disabled, so it's completely running on automatic. However, if you do connect it via the 3.5mm cable through the jack, those settings do come back and you control how sensitive the input gain will be. In the following comparisons, I left the Rode video microphone on default with the settings completely turned off and did my best to balance the levels as closely as I could inside Premiere Pro for a more fair comparison. Take a listen. This Rolleiflex I picked up in Portland for about $900 at an antique store. So this camera right here is the Canon AE1. I picked this up while I was studying abroad in Hamburg, Germany back in 2012. This right here is the TT Artisan. I picked this up recently to go with my film cameras. Funny enough, I wasn't even looking for this camera. My sister had asked me if I could go to a ceramic store for her in Portland. I think I was with some of my classmates just visiting a camera flea market, and saw this camera, had no idea if it worked, didn't speak very good German, still don't speak very good German, and decided to pick this up and take it around Germany to go shoot with. It helps to very quickly tell me what the settings I should be shooting with. So if I push this button on the back right now, it'll tell you that it's overexposed. Both microphones did pretty well, especially when compared to the onboard microphones on the FX3. The biggest difference that I was able to tell is that there's a lot less bass, or there's a lot less of the lower frequencies on the Sony microphone when compared to the video microphone. Lenny still has his lip, I see. That might come off later today. It's a pretty warm day today. It's not as wet as last time, so maybe there won't be any mud on the track. Or maybe Lenny won't go off the track. Where did Lenny go?
I don't know.
Hi, Jess.
Hello.
So do you think Lenny's lip is gonna get ripped off today?
Oh no, I hope not.
Yes, we all hope it doesn't get ripped off, but do you think it's going to happen?
No, it's not.
Do you or do you not think your lip is gonna get ripped off today?
I don't think it's gonna get ripped off today. If it gets ripped off, my whole bumper is going.
Is it bolted on?
It's bolted on now.
No, don't do it. It's bolted on.
The next test that I did was seeing how well this windscreen did that comes with the Sony microphone at blocking wind noise versus this camera and this third-party windscreen. However, this windscreen comes separate. It doesn't come with the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, at least when I bought it. I wanted to see how well these two windscreens did at reducing wind noise. I took a house fan, pointed at the microphone on the lowest setting, and it was about 2 or 3 feet away from the microphone, and I compared with and without the windscreen on the microphones to see how well it did. So with these two microphones, I think the Rode did a much better job of blocking out wind noise compared to the Sony, but I think it has to do with just the nature of the design. With the Sony, you only have one exterior layer covering the microphone itself, which is this windscreen. Whereas with the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, it actually has two layers if you use the third party or like a windscreen like this. So you have the microphone bit in the center covered by a layer already, and then on top of that you would have this windscreen on top. So I think it did better just simply because it had two additional layers where the wind would have to get through and before it would actually hit the microphone itself. Lenny does not approve of the way that I use TikTok. Apparently it's very similar to how Jeff does it.
Jesus Christ, you're gonna break your teeth.
You should try a little one. Just dump it all in your mouth at once.
I'm gonna have one.
No, do 5.
No.
Do one shake into your hand.
Do one of these.
There.
Oh no. Here.
No, you gotta do it.
Do all 4. Chew.
Oh God, he's
Chew.
gonna break something.
It hurts my teeth.
Oh.
Damn, do you have weak teeth?
You're always making fun of me saying I have these.
Do you not?
Tastes like star anise.
What?
Tastes like star anise.
Another main difference between these two microphones is that the Sony microphone does not have a battery in its design, whereas the Rode video microphone has this battery built into it. My natural assumption was that the Sony microphone was going to drain the camera battery a lot faster, since the camera would essentially have to power both the camera itself plus this microphone. I did about a 5-minute and a 30-minute drain test, and the battery drain was about roughly the same when using either of these microphones. In the 5-minute test, it drained about 4 to 5% on each microphone, and for the 30-minute test, it was about 26 or 28% drainage. So is the Sony Vlogger microphone worth getting? Well, of course, that'll depend. At $150, it's not the cheapest on-camera shotgun mic out there, because there's much cheaper options starting around like maybe $30 to $50. But it's also not the most expensive, because this Rode video microphone that I have here, this costs $299 brand new, and it doesn't come with a windscreen. If you're gonna be recording on a Sony camera with a multi-interface hot shoe, I would consider one of these microphones, because having the ability to record through the hot shoe mount, that means it's one less cable sticking out of your camera. This has no battery that you have to charge separately, so on paper it seems like the ECM-G1 would be extremely easy to travel with, and it records pretty decent audio. The only caveat I would say is that you're giving up any sort of control when using the ECM-G1. If you're just getting into vlogging or any sort of video recording, you want to have better audio, or if you're constantly on the go in different changing situations where you don't really have the time to adjust the volume controls, this microphone could make sense for you. As for now, the ECM-G1 is going to go in my camera bag, because I need to actually play with it a little bit more and use it in the field, in practice. Even though in my tests these two microphones were fairly comparable, they were very controlled settings. Using it in places, in real world places, is going to actually tell me if it's going to permanently stay in my bag or not. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful, or if you have any feedback on what could have made this comparison better, and I'll see you next time.